What's that sound? It's for amusement only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast.
Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Well, things have been very busy. I know I say that every episode, but it gets no less true. In fact, things have been so busy that I forgot to record yesterday. Normally, I am way on top of that, but I apologize. This is a day late if you're hearing it the day of release. But, hey, life gets in the way sometimes. So, here's what I've been doing. I wired Robo-Frenzy like crazy. I'm probably 70% of the way done with the wiring. I have 2 major units left to wire, and then 8 trip relays. Aside from that, the game is pretty much complete. As I was going through and testing everything, I got to the coils, measured the input voltage and output voltage on the transformers before I fused them, of course. Or rather, before a fuse was in the circuit, so there was no chance of damage to any of the coils or lamps or anything. And my input voltage was great, nice and strong. My output voltage, however, was not correct. So, as it turned out, I had used my 24-volt transformer in fixing a different game and had completely forgotten about it. So I had managed to put 2 Bally transformers in there instead at 50-volt output for the coils. So luckily, I was doing my testing in that way rather than just trusting to fate here and hoping that I had it right, because I would have burned up some coils pretty quickly. And possibly the score motor as well. So, with the appropriate transformer in hand now, all I have to do is unhook one of the Bally transformers. I get to pick now, either one. And then hook in the correct 24-volt transformer. I pulled one from a Williams, and that should be that. You know, I should be able to go through and start testing my coil circuits. I'm looking forward to that and seeing what errors lie in the wiring. I found one error already. I had dived through one of the circuits that I needed to do through the Jones plug instead of, basically I went around one of the circuits that I needed rather than through. So I've got to kind of cut that wiring out and put a different wire in. And run it through a trip relay, but not the end of the world. Aside from that, you know, things have been relatively quiet. I've also been working behind the scenes on multi-races, which I announced here some time ago. Multi-races is going to be a multi-one-ball horse race game, and I'm going to start with Turf King, because it's going to be easy to document. I will eventually have all of the one-ball horse race games available for play in there, including payout versions and replay versions. And I'll have something special to announce on the payout side once I figure out what I'm going to do there. Well, I know what I'm going to do. It's just a matter of getting it done. So tonight, I'm going to be heading down in a moment to either continue wiring Robo-Frenzy or to wire up multi-races. So what else is going on? Let's see. Contest winners, you should have received your prize by now, and if not, it'll be in the next couple of days. Look for that. And in EM news, there was a Chicago Coin Soundstage that was recently unboxed. This is similar to the Silver Sails, except quite a bit newer. And but still no less incredible. I mean, seeing a brand new EM of any stripe being unboxed is just amazing. So that one didn't fare as well, but I will say that the box was in much worse condition than the box for the Silver Sails. The video is available on Facebook. Unfortunately, if you don't have an account, that's the only place that it is at the moment. I will link to the Facebook page in the show notes. So you can check that out if you would like to. Today's featured game is 1948's Alice in Wonderland by Gottlieb. And this is one of the Fairy Tale series, one of the 6 games that Godly produced that contains 6 flippers, Alice in Wonderland being one of them. At first glance, this machine looks incredibly simple. If you look at the playfield layout, for example, there's just not a whole heck of a lot there. But if you look closer, you can see some of the genius in the design here. I am really interested to play one of these one day for a few different reasons. The first is that you have a red bumper value that can increment every time you hit a top rollover. So the playfield is laid out with bumpers arrayed at the top and posts above those. The bumpers spell LIC, and oddly, I don't see anything in the playfield artwork that has the A or E for Alice. But normally, in this era at least, the bumper caps would read left to right, so around the playfield, starting with A at the bottom and ending with E on the bottom right. But in this case, it just says LIC. Down below that is a rollover, and below the I bumper, the one in the center, in the upper third there's a rollover, and every time you roll over it, it will increment a stepper, which will change the value of the red bumpers. The red bumpers start at 10,000, and with the next switch hit, they go to 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and then special for each red bumper hit. There are 4 red bumpers arrayed around the playfield, 2 directly beneath the first set of flippers, 2 beneath the second set. So you have a very good chance of hitting one or more of these red bumpers as your ball travels down the playfield. In the center of the playfield, there's a diamond bumper that, when lit, gives you 50,000 points, and I assume when it's unlit, it gives you 10,000. On the left and right side of the middle set of flippers is a rollover that increments the bonus. Now, the bonus value is below. Towards the center of the playfield, underneath the diamond bumper, there's a kickout, and below this kickout is the bonus counter. And for each lit value in the bonus counter, your bonus increments by 100,000 points. Pretty big deal. So if you can get that bonus incremented high enough, then you can collect up to 1 million in bonus straight out. There's also a way to collect double bonus, so you could get up to 2 million points just from this one mechanic. Now, there's a kickout hole I mentioned up above. That kickout hole above gives you double bonus, and hitting it requires a rebound basically off of one of the red bumpers after being hit by the lower set of flippers. Very tricky looking. That kickout will kick down into a bonus collect saucer, and then below that there is a rollover which increments your bonus. At the bottom left and right, in place of the A and the E in the word Alice, there are 2 bumpers, purple, with caps that say special when lit. Now, to light special, you have to spell Alice, and I just found where A and E are. It's a little hard to see on these photos from IPDB because of some fading on these inserts, but there are 2 inserts on those rollover lanes that add to your bonus, and they will unlight when you hit them. The left is A and the right is E, so again, you go around the playfield, Alice. So once you spell Alice, it will light that double bonus kickout hole for special. It will also light those purple bumpers in the bottom left and bottom right for a replay apiece every time you hit them. Pretty good deal. You can also win, as I mentioned, by hitting the top rollover multiple times until you advance the value to special. And then every red bumper hit is an extra replay. The final way to win is on score. So depending on how much score you've accrued, you may earn a replay or 2. The backglass and playfield artwork are very typical, I would say, of Roy Parker artwork. There are ladies on the backglass. One is the titular Alice in Wonderland, and she is admiring her figure in a looking glass. And there is a lady, either a foot person or a retainer of some kind, and she's holding a box. I don't recall this character from the book, but I'm certain it'll come to me as soon as I finish recording. Arrayed around the outside of the scene is your score, and it's in these just beautiful mirrored bean type sections. They just look great, very colorful, and I think they're set off very well by the mirroring. And down in the bottom center, there's the Mad Hatter peeking up from behind the 40,000 indicator. Alice is standing in front of a large staircase, and there is a statue of a lady holding a lantern aloft near the center of the back glass. Both Alice and this statue lady are illuminated by default. There are multiple women on the playfield, and each one is slightly different and representative of a portion of the story in some way, shape, or form. At the bottom of the playfield, you have Alice talking to the mock turtle. Up at the middle of the playfield, you have the Queen of Hearts on either side, holding up a special when lit sign, which is pointing to A and E. Up at the top, you have that same retainer that I can't place, holding the same box, and walking towards what appears to be Alice, or perhaps that's supposed to be the White Rabbit holding the fan. Very interesting artwork, and I am sure there is nuance and detail here which I am not understanding at this particular time. But it's a game that I'm really interested in playing sometime, and I hope to run across one in my travels one day. It looks like it's a lot more challenging than it seems like it would be at first glance. As with many of these fairy tale series of games, it's important to remember them in the context of their time. So the flippers articulate backwards from the way that we're used to, and they also are arrayed in such a fashion that you're basically playing tennis all the way down the playfield. So if you use the flipper, you're trying to flip to the other side. You're generally not flipping back up the playfield. In that way, you can bounce off of various playfield mechanics and hopefully earn quite a bit of points as you descend the playfield. But as with most things, gravity eventually takes its toll, and you'll be out of luck. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for listening, and to my listeners that celebrate Hanukkah, I hope you have a very happy one. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to me on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to me on my website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.